Shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and the glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Brakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and blessing be multiplied on all you brethren, pushing this word in all sincerity and in truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect, 144,000, and the rest of the men, women, and children that will receive mercy from the Lord in these last days. Shalom. I'm the brother Damar Gabar here with another lesson, Lord willing to edify through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Yahweh Shai. All right, this is going to be a quick lesson, with some information that I came across that's, bringing this prophecy in Ezekiel the 38th chapter to pass. So I'm going to start here in Ezekiel 38:1, and then I'm going to read some information as regarding this prophecy. All right, we're showing you that, the Lord is working. The Lord is bringing these things together so that, these final few prophecies, which, this situation with this Third World War is not going to take place until after the MOTB has been implemented. All right. So you understand that, this is not going to fully take place till after that prophecy of the MOTB. But the Lord is showing us how these things are coming to pass. So this is Ezekiel 38:1. And the word of Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And all right, and Gog represents Russia today, just so you can understand. All right, and it says, and say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. And Meshech and Tubal, if I remember correctly, is that's in the area of Turkey, which we know that Turkey is allied with Russia, and eventually they're gonna turn on NATO and eventually side with Russia. When this thing fully, gets hot and heavy. All right. And it says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and chariot and horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. And that's, the former USSR. The Lord is going to turn it back and basically bring Russia back into that and back into that power that it once was, and it's going to realign a lot of those areas that the USSR lost. When you look at a map, it shows you Gog and then Meshech and Tubal. You got Turkey right there. You got Iran right there. You got Libya all in that area, and you got Israel kind of in the midst of all of those allies that are along with Russia. And we know that eventually the least of the flock, which is those small hats, are going to cause, to draw out America into that war over there in that area. And we know that those nations that are allied with Russia, Libya, Iran, Syria, even though, that's been hijacked, Turkey, and those allied along with Russia over there in the so-called Middle East area, they're going to eventually link up back with Russia in the midst of this Third World War, and things are going to commence this Third World War. And it says here, see, right, Persia, which is what is modern day Persia, is Iran. All right. It says Ethiopia and Libya, which is northern Africa, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togomar and of the north quarters and all of his bands, and many people with thee. And here's the point. It says, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. You see? And that's ultimately what I'm going to show you in this article that Russia is doing. It's becoming a guard, especially to Persia, which is the modern day Iranians, so that they could be locked up and secured and allied with one another, so that when this war pops off, hey, they're going to form like Voltron, and the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is going to be ultimately implemented. You see? And it says, after many days shall thou be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel. You see, it's talking about the actual land of Israel right now, where those small hats are actually in the land. You see, and they are going to come against Israel. Like I said, the least of the flock is going to draw out Babylon, America, into that third world. It's going to draw America into some type of situation to where it's going to cause, Russia, Libya, Persia, Syria, Turkey, all those nations that are up in that area surrounding Israel to come up against her during this third world war. All right. It says, which have been always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. It says, then thou shalt also ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. You see? And this is ultimately what we see getting ready to be played out in these last days. And I came across this article, right, that says Russia, Iran to sign comprehensive strategic partnership treaty this week. You see, and this is all part of Russia being a guard unto Persia, and eventually they're going to, link up with all of those other countries that are right there in that northern quarter over there near Russia, Turkey, Syria, Iran, Libya, which is northern Africa, to come up against basically the land of Israel, those small hats in the latter days. And these different deals are just signs, showing prophecy coming to pass. All right. And it says Russia and Iran have unveiled plans to sign a comprehensive strategic partnership treaty on Friday when Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian visits Moscow. This says the two nations, dubbed pariahs by much of the West, and have seen their cooperation and relations grow in the context of the Ukraine war. On January 17th, Vladimir Putin will hold talks with the president of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Masoud Pezeshkian, who will come to Russia on an official visit, the Kremlin announced Monday. The much-anticipated treaty has long been in the works, since at least last summer, news of which caused President Zelensky to say there's an axis of rogue states conspiring to defeat Ukraine. This has included North Korea as well, which has lost troops helping Moscow defend Kursk region. You see? It says, as for the treaty to be signed by the week's close, it was previewed as heavily focused on defense and security cooperation. You see? It will confirm the parties' desire for closer cooperation in the field of defense and interaction in the interests of peace and security at the regional and global levels, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov had stated earlier. This is Putin and Pezeshkian, in addition to signing the agreement, are expected to discuss prospects for the further expansion of bilateral cooperation, including in trade and investment, transport and logistics, and the humanitarian sphere, as well as topical issues on the regional and international agenda, the Kremlin said. Already the two sides cooperate deeply on drones. Russia has, since the Ukraine's war start, been using Iran-produced Shahed kamikaze drones against Ukrainian cities, and Iran has reportedly set up a major UAV production facility on Russian soil at Moscow invitation. You see, so these two are heavily partnered up. All right, they're allies. All right, and they're coming together, mainly for defense, but also for other endeavors. But mainly is to be defended and to be protected from the attacks from the West, from Israel, and ultimately from EU. All right, because they know ultimately that they're going to have to go to war, and Russia has to protect its interests because, if Israel can get the upper hand and get, Iran down, it just leaves Russia more vulnerable to attacks, man. So that's a very strategic place for Russia to have allies and protection, especially from those small hats, man. It's kind of like Russia has Israel surrounded on both sides from Iran, and then you got Libya, across from it. And you got Turkey right there on the top, which Turkey has been showing, that they don't give a damn about Israel and that they're against their genocide and their war efforts, and that eventually, something's going to have to be done about what they're doing over there. So we see all the signs are pointing towards, this prophecy being fulfilled. It says Moscow and Tehran earlier last month lost a key Middle East ally upon the fall of Bashar al-Assad, after Islamic insurgents rampaged across the country and demoralized and underpaid Syrian army quickly collapsed. Turkey was widely seen as supporting the insurgents with intelligence and equipment, and likely other NATO states played a background role as well, you see. But now we're seeing that Turkey is feeling that they're deserving of some of that Syrian land, which is going to cause them to further to bump heads with those small heads till eventually they're going to link up with Russia any goddamn way. So either way it goes, it's going to play out in the interest and you know, of Russia anyway. All right. It says, as for Iran, it sees the treaty as further safeguarding independence and national sovereignty. See? It says national independence is of a great importance to the Islamic Republic of Iran. After all, we have been paying the price for it for 45 years, he added in an article published Saturday. See? And what do they want to be nationally independent from? The attacks from the West, from Israel, and Esau, Edom, because this America has long been wanting to get their hands on Iran. Not only for the resources, but also as a strategic, place to come up against Russia. You see? It says both countries have come under far-reaching U.S. and EU sanctions for what's happening in Ukraine. Western intelligence has warned against the transfer of Iranian ballistic missiles to Russia in the context of the Ukraine war as well. While there has been some reports suggesting that this happened, there is yet no definitive evidence. You see, but the point is, man, hey, Russia is becoming that more and more of a guard unto Iran. And as we get closer to the end of this thing, they're going to fully link up, when this third world war pop off. So this is just prophecy in the making and the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai being made sure. And we see these things forming and we know exactly through the spirit how it's going to eventually end, man. And what it's going to ultimately lead to. Mainly this Ezekiel 38 chapter being fulfilled. And this third world war popping off, and ultimately is going to lead to our holy land being cleansed and burnt with fire, so that it could host a righteous colony of the Most High's chosen people, which are the Israelites. So, with that, I'm gonna give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, this was edifying, and until the next one, Shalom.